Hi everyone, I'm Lorraine Driscoll, and as promised, I'm continuing today with what to do if your child has a learning disability, ADHD, autism, any kind of cognitive struggle, and they're not feeling good about themselves. They have low self-esteem. A lot of the times this can further exacerbate the problem, make them feel like there's no point in trying, and it can be really heartbreaking to watch as a parent. So one of the things you can definitely do is help your child to uncover their hidden strengths. So we all, I've talked about what are your child's superpowers, and a lot of parents can tell me right away, oh my God, my child is awesome at this, or my child is awesome at that. But sometimes we don't even realize certain strengths and how important they are, even as parents, or we don't see that in ourselves, as kids or as adults. So there's all kinds of quizzes you can take online to uncover your hidden strengths, to find out, where your area of genius is and so forth. And that can really help your child to not only, give them a self-esteem boost and realize, where they are strong maybe compared to other people, but also for them to see how much certain things that they might take for granted or things that they aren't even aware of can be such an asset. And these quizzes are really good too at telling how that strength could be of value, as opposed to just saying, you're good at this, end of story. So definitely try to uncover your child's hidden strengths and really focus on them, on building on them and pointing them out when they are doing them and so forth, so that they don't believe that they are stupid. The other thing is kids are really, who have learning disabilities really have a hard time making a distinction between their learning disability and just the general learning process. So the general learning process is hard, right? It's like when we are learning something new, even if there's no learning disabilities or anything of the sort, there's something called the learning dip. And when we're in that dip, it kind of feels like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get this. This just seems impossible. It's where we can get really negative. And where really that saying, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, that's where we really have to persevere and just keep at it until we get through it. And I think of that because I myself used to think, because I struggled with learning in my earlier years, I used to think that if I encountered a challenge, it was because I'm not smart, as opposed to, well, this is a challenging thing to learn to do, and this has nothing to do with my cognitive abilities. And it wasn't until I started picking up hobbies, which is why this can be so helpful for kids, to get them, invest in the hobby that they're interested in, to help them realize that even that can be hard. And to point out, how it was really hard when you learn to, play the guitar or whatever it is, play hockey, when you're trying to learn this particular strategy. Well, that's the same thing with, reading or with this, but you need to just keep at it. So just for them to be aware that their learning is hard, and for you to point that out too, that if you are learning something new, take that as an opportunity to show your child that this is really hard for you to learn, that you're having a really hard time, you're feeling really frustrated. I know I did that with my own daughter. One time I was learning how to do websites and coding and all that type of stuff. And I was just so frustrated. And I made a point to tell my daughter, I'm really frustrated right now. I'm learning something new, and learning something new can be really hard and so forth. And, pointing out to a child that if you don't have a learning disability, that this can still be a challenge. So other things you can do if your child is struggling and has low self-esteem. This is probably a given, but I'm going to mention it anyway, is just to remember that you are your child's only advocate. And so if they are struggling with low self-esteem because of a learning disability or another cognitive, difficulty, then definitely do whatever it is you need to do, even if it means bringing out the mama bear, to advocate for your child, because that can make a huge difference, whether it's in the school system or outside the school system in a structured activity or whatever, so that your child doesn't feel like they're just left to drown and so forth. They have someone vouching for them, and then that is more likely that someone is going to be aware to stay on top of things if there's somebody being that child's advocate. So those basically are my last 3 points on what you can do if your child is struggling with self-esteem. Again, as always, I do believe, I do know that addressing the root cause is ultimately the best place to start and finish, by approaching it with a corrective approach, like I do in my Full Potential Formula and reading Rockstar Method. The self-esteem issues take care of themselves, But in the meantime, definitely you want to consider what you can do to help your child realize that there's nothing, innately wrong with them and that everybody has struggles. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please share. And if you haven't already, feel free to download my free guide or my starter kit, the Laser Focused Learner, and I will put the link for that in the comments below. Thanks.